and welcome to another video in which I'll explain my choices as a leader in a few recent situations. There will be two situations covered in this video. The first is a attack of Aleswell Keep, and the second one is a more general help in terms of looking at the world map and understanding what information can be gleaned from reading that map. So without further ado, I will introduce you to the first video and the situation that occurred during this video. We find ourselves attacking Aleswell Keep, which had recently been taken by Meridian's vanguard whilst we were attacking Bleakers. The yellows are cut off in this keep, so there is not much expectation of any further yellow reinforcements, but we do need to be aware and defeat the Meridians to take the keep. This is not one of our most successful fights, but I wanted to highlight it during this video because there was quite a few decisions to be made, and it is a good video and a good situation to show raid leader thinking and understanding what went well and what could have gone better in the decisions made. So the video starts by us attacking the main gate of Aleswell. As you can see, the keep is already under attack and the door is quite heavily damaged already. At this point I'm assessing looking at the walls to see whether there is any yellows on the walls ready to attack us, or whether there is some inside the keep through the gap in the door. I then step back to recheck the walls, and I see at this point that the yellows start to group up on the left, and so we'll pause the video and analyse the situation there. So as you can see, there is a lot of red circles around the yellow group. This means that they'll have a lot of damage incoming in a few seconds when the proximity detonations go off, and we won't be able to heal through that damage, especially because we're low on healers in the group at the time. Therefore my immediate call is to scatter the group and spread them out so that the yellow group cannot focus their damage on lots of our players, and hopefully they will only end up taking a few players out with their initial DPS. There's not a lot we can do to avoid losing any players here, so I just accept that we will lose some members to the yellow ambush. However, by spreading out, we minimise the amount of people that we lose and maximise our ability to counter push once their proximity detonations have gone off, and therefore be able to finish them off when they're at their weakest, which is after they've used all their upfront DPS and will often have used a lot of ultis. So this is a damage minimisation exercise so that we can best utilise the group to push back afterwards. By utilising this strategy, we actually survive the Meridian's vanguard push quite well and don't lose any group members to this push. We then chase them inside the keep and chase them towards the left where they are running towards the tower. I myself push into the tower and some group members are with me. However, this is where my first mistake occurs, so we'll pause the video and analyse that. As you can see at this point, my group is fairly split between either side of the yellow group. Therefore, my strategy should have been to just crush into the yellow group from either side to maximise our DPS. However, I made the wrong call and try and pull the group to regroup inside the tower. This is wrong for two reasons. One, because it forces half the group to move through the yellow group, where they may not have the healing support that they would have when the group was full, and therefore are at more risk of dying. And the second reason this was the incorrect call was because it moves us into an enclosed space, i.e. the tower, where the yellows can more easily maximise their DPS in a small area of effect and eliminate many of the group members. However, this is the decision I make, so we'll continue the video to see the results of this decision. Since I didn't move the group together, we end up losing quite a few members here for two reasons. The ones that tried to push through the group died immediately whilst pushing through the group to the yellow group's DPS. The half of the group that managed to make it into the tower were then quickly overwhelmed because of the yellow group's superior number and were killed in the tower. However, I do then proceed to make the right call afterwards of just allowing the group to focus on rezzing whilst the yellows are in the tower, and then when the yellows come out of the tower, spreading the group so that they cannot eliminate us completely and focus their DPS on us. Other blues then push in and the yellows are forced back into the tower to avoid dying themselves. This is a good opportunity for us to res, and the group is quickly back up to strength using a combination of normal reses and also a camp. I then just hold the group in position long enough for us to somewhat regroup and keep an eye on the yellows. Since there are now plenty of blues in the keep, I know that the other blues can focus on the siege and we can focus on the yellows. However, I am concerned about our ability to directly push into the group and win a fair fight, and therefore I manoeuvre the group to ensure that we maximise our chance of winning the fight using elements such as surprise or the terrain to our advantage. In this case, in this sort of keep fight, there's not much terrain to be used to utilise this advantage, so I use the element of surprise. I do this by moving the group out of the yellow's line of sight and dropping us all into stealth. So we'll pause the video there again and review why I did this. The reason that I dropped the group into stealth at this time whilst we were out of line of sight of the enemy is that a lot of the ball group we are facing's DPS comes from proximity detonations and other skills that take a few moments to activate. Therefore, if we can engage them when they have not seen us coming, they will not have time to activate these skills, and therefore we will be able to use our burst damage to hopefully eliminate a few of their players before they are ready to fight. It will also mean that they will not have their defensive buffs up. However, there is a risk because we ourselves will also not have our own defensive buffs up. It also relies on them having an effective group, because even if one or two members are outside of stealth, it will give away the position of the whole group, especially if, like our group, you are using tabards to show which guild you are playing with. We then start to advance on the yellow group, who are also starting to move towards us, and I prepare the group ready to come out of snake and attack the yellow group when they are a little closer. I actually push the group slightly too early, and the yellows have chance to react to us and activate their buffs. This would have been more effective had waited a few more seconds. However, we are still successful in eliminating some of their players, and the blues chase in from behind, and by keeping the yellow group stationary for a few moments we are able to eliminate many of their players. Unfortunately, the weight of numbers soon starts to show and we start losing members ourselves. However, since we have eliminated quite a few of their group, they are forced to retreat inside to take the more defensive position of the inside of the keep. This is good for us as it means we have full control of the outside of the keep and can move freely as required. The group then reses the people that died, including myself, and we note that the yellows have a camp, and so the members of our group that are alive push towards their camp to stop as many yellows from respawning as possible and getting inside the keep. Now that we have fully eliminated the outside threat, we focus on trying to get inside the keep, and knowing that it was the inner main gate that was open, that is where we move. I note that there is a lot of blues pushing in, so I do not worry about stacking the group up before we push in and move in and focus on moving to the top flag. I see that the yellows are coming back with all their proactive detonations activated. You do not wish to push directly into the group when they have proxies activated like this, and therefore we move to the side to get out of their DPS, and when I see that all their proxy detonations have been activated, I then push in again and push them off the flag. The other blues then join the fight, and through our weight of numbers we are able to eliminate the yellow group and take the. We will now move to the second portion of the video where I shall show you a screenshot of the world map whilst we were playing on the same evening and give you information on what information you can gather from this and what decisions can be made based on this information. The first thing to assess whilst looking at the map is the overall positioning of the three alliances and where the main fights will be. You will note at this time that the main borders are between Bleakers and Chalmers, Sejanus and Alessia, and Ash, and somewhere between Ailes and Glade. That means that the most likely the heaviest populations of the three alliances will be in these areas. However, you will also note that both the Chalmers Milegate and the Alessia Bridge are both damaged and therefore impassable, and therefore it is more likely that any Reds are going to be at Sejanus than they are going to be at Chalmers. This means it is a good time to attack the Reds because there will be less defences, as most Reds focus on fighting the Yellows either at Sejanus or retaking the resources at Blue Road Keep. There is also worth noting that there is a fight at Ash. At the moment there is only 3 siege, however this could quickly become much heavier. If there is only 3 siege, I immediately note that this siege is unlikely to be successful because the yellows have respawned from Nickel, which is only a short distance away, and therefore it would need to be much heavier siege in order to win Ash. Therefore the decisions can be made based on this information could be maybe to push the yellows at Brindle, because the main flow of yellows and blues will be around Ash and Ailes, or to push Chalman from the Horan Mile Gate, which is the one north of Chalman, because there is less likely to be reds there because of the broken Mile Gate. Another thing to assess is whether there are any resources of a different colour to the actual keep. For example, Dragonclaw mine is blue, which means that there is likely a blue presence at Dragonclaw, and therefore another reasonable assumption would be that there will soon be a siege at Dragonclaw. However, since it is only one resource, it could also just be that it is one or two blue players who are wanting to try and farm the reds at Dragonclaw, so it may not be a reliable piece of information. I can also see that there are camps up at both Aleswell and Glade, whilst these are already blue owned keeps, which implies that there was most likely a fight here recently and that the camps had not yet run out and been destroyed. Therefore, it is likely that there is some enemy players at both of these keeps, and therefore if I move the group near these keeps, I should be aware of gankers. Another thing to note is that we currently have 3 scrolls, one of the red scrolls and our own 2. This means that if the reds have the opportunity, they are more likely to attack us to try and retake the scroll, especially because we are vulnerable to attack at rails because of not having ash, meaning that an attack could occur by the yellows at ash or from the reds, maybe coming all the way from Dragonclaw. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you learned something new during it. As always, if you do have feedback, please let me know, and if you have any priorities as to what you would like the next video to be on, please also let me know that as well. Thank you very much.